Imagine standing still while your mind races like a car in neutral. You try to focus, but thoughts slip away, and you wonder why sitting upright feels unbalanced when the floor isn't moving. The neck isn't just a connector between head and spine. It's actually a neural interface that keeps you grounded. When you stabilize your gaze, your vestibular system fires signals to the cerebellum that gate your attention into the present using rhythms invisible to the ear. This suggests why certain postures induce flow better than sitting on a cushion. If your body isn't anchored through motion, your mind won't stay focused. Finding the right way to move might be the only method to stop yourself from dissociating when pressure gets too high for people moving their bodies but never feeling them at all. Why does the neck hold the key to keeping you here?
Imagine you are piloting something heavy but invisible. The brain is that machine. To fly it straight without looking at the compass, your body needs an anchor. For decades, science looked for that anchor in the eyes or ears, but new research suggests the answer is tucked into the back of your neck. Think of it like a gyroscope inside your skull. When you stabilize your head, specific signals fire through your neck muscles to quiet down the noise in your brain. This is what researchers call the vestibulo-cerebellar loop. It turns out this physical act creates a rhythm, a gate for thoughts to enter. This isn't just about balance. It's about how we keep ourselves present in a chaotic world. We are essentially gating our own attention using bone and muscle. But there is one specific frequency that seems to trigger the deepest focus known to humans, and it starts with a single movement of the head.
We spent so long thinking consciousness was a purely internal experience that we ignored the hardware holding it up. Have you noticed how your thoughts slow down when you hold your head perfectly still? That isn't coincidence, it's physics. The neck contains a dense network of nerve endings that talk directly to the brainstem, bypassing the visual and auditory cortex entirely. When we stabilize the spine, we aren't just preventing motion sickness, we are mechanically gating the electrical signals flooding into the hippocampus. This creates a rhythm known as theta, which is naturally associated with deep memory consolidation, but can be forced by physical posture alone. Essentially, your body has its own operating system for focus that runs independently of your willpower. If posture dictates perception, then changing your structural relationship to gravity changes how you process reality. But recent imaging suggests this isn't limited to waking states. The pattern appears in sleep, too. We've established that attention isn't just a software update in the brain. It has a physical foundation rooted in how you hold yourself against gravity. Think about closing your eyes and trying to stay perfectly still for 1 minute. That tension isn't psychological. It's a biological lock engaging between your ears and your spine to keep reality from spinning out of control. Scientists discovered that moving your neck at specific frequencies can manually entrain your brain into those deep theta states you feel in meditation, but never reach with willpower alone. It turns the body into the anchor for the mind, preventing the mental drift that plagues us during complex work. But this physical connection raises a terrifying question about what happens when that biological lock fails completely and disconnects the observer from their own body entirely.
Imagine trying to hold a candle flame steady with just your eyes open while your body fidgets. Most of us assume focus is a mental trick, but biology says it starts in your spine. When you lock your head into stillness, your vestibular system triggers a specific feedback loop back to the brainstem. This isn't passive rest, it actively generates theta waves, the same frequency associated with deep REM sleep and hyperfocus states. Your body is using gravity as an anchor point for your attention. It forces the nervous system to prioritize stability over distraction. You can literally tune your brainwaves by adjusting the tension in your neck muscles. This discovery suggests that consciousness isn't just something you think, but something you hold against gravity with every breath. But when we measure these signals during movement, the data looks like nothing we have seen before.
Think about how you know exactly where your arm is without looking at it. That's not magic, it's a constant negotiation between bone and nerve. But what if moving your head does the same thing for your mind? We've known that movement creates focus, but recent work suggests the neck itself might be generating the rhythm of attention. When you lock your gaze while turning your body, you create a shear force in your cervical spine. That physical tension signals the brainstem to open specific gates. It forces the mind into a flow state where the noise of the world drops away. You are effectively using gravity as a tool to hack your own nervous system. This means the path to presence isn't found in sitting still. It's found in controlled instability. But there is one specific frequency this mechanism responds to, and we haven't quite mapped it yet.
Have you ever noticed how hard it is to think when you are running or shaking your head? Your brain treats that motion as noise. It filters out everything except survival. But there is a trick to stopping that filter. If you can stabilize your neck, you signal safety to your brainstem. This stability allows a specific feedback loop between your cervical spine and your vestibular nuclei to fire correctly. The result is a shift into slower brainwaves, known as theta states. These are the same frequencies found during deep meditation or intense problem solving. We used to think this was purely mental control. Now we see it as physical calibration. You can literally steer your attention by how you hold your head. But the data suggests there is a precise rhythm of motion that effectively turns this biological switch on.
We've spent centuries thinking posture was purely structural, something we do to look taller or stronger. But what if stability was also a signal? Consider how you feel when you're balancing on a beam versus standing in a chair. The tension required to stay upright sends direct information back up the spinal cord. Scientists are finding that specific neck tension triggers the cerebellum to gate attention. It forces the brain into high-amplitude theta rhythms without any meditation or music involved. It's like manually tuning a radio by holding your body still enough to catch the frequency. This mechanism explains why masters of focus always talk about keeping the spine erect. It's not vanity, it is biology. They are physically forcing their own neural architecture into a state of deep observation. But there is a threshold where this mechanical lock breaks and consciousness shifts entirely in ways we have no protocols for yet.
So we arrive at the verdict. Everything points back to that simple act of moving your head, not as a structural anchor, but as a biological interface. Think of your neck like an antenna on an old radio, scanning frequencies until you find the clearest signal. Research shows specific movements in the cervical spine can literally tune your brainwaves into a state of high focus, filtering out distraction without any screens or apps. You do not need to meditate for hours anymore. You simply need to anchor yourself physically to anchor your mind. Try stabilizing your gaze while rotating your head slowly to feel that shift between noise and clarity. It transforms how you experience the present moment. The full research archive is at jmthomasofficial.com.